Well, the guy told us, he says, immediately they sent us into battle. He said we were between two hills, like small mountains, I guess. And he says, they were waiting for us. And he says, they just mowed us down with machine gun fire, like fish in a barrel. And he says, only about 5 or 6 people survived. He was one of those.
Wow.
Right away, I just went and got the shakes.
Oh my God.
I said, oh my goodness. I know I would have been one of those because I was not a typical good soldier.
Right.
You know, I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn if I was standing in it, you know.
So
But
Julian really saved your life.
Sure did.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Sure did, you know.
I'm so sorry I lost all those men, though, you know.
Yeah, but the whole company got wiped out. And this guy told me, he says, the others were sent to different hospitals, you know, and but he says there was only about 5 or 6 of them left.
Wow.
You know.
Oh my.
And I still wonder this day, would I have been one of those? I think I would have, because I was, you know, I said, not a good soldier.
Well, it's a good thing besides being a great pianist that you learned the typing.
Yeah. But, you know, I'll always remember.
Wow.
And Cannibal and I became best of friends after that.
Mm-hmm. I bet.
You know, yeah, I was in the first band that he organized.
Wow, you guys must have been so tight after that.
Yeah, there was one with Jimmy Cobb, Sam Jones, Nat, Cannibal, and myself.
Right.
Yeah. And the band stayed together we had a lot of success for about a year, but during that time in the 50s, a new band, you know, you got to work harder to stay together, and it was just a natural thing. Seemed like after a few recordings, somebody else comes along, and et cetera, you know. So what happened? The band broke up, and as luck would have it, Miles was very interested in Cannibal playing in his band. At the same time, Dizzy was interested in having me in his band. So Cannibal and I said, look, man, why don't you take the gig with Dizzy and I'll take the gig with Miles, and we'll be getting back together again. He said, I'm going to have my own band, you know, but he said this would be good for both of us. And Nat, in the meantime, I think he joined either Lionel Hampton or Woody Herman, or he did a short stint with both of them. But he wound up with J.J. Johnson's quintet, which he liked the best.
Wow.
Yeah, and he stayed, I think it's quintet or sextet or something with J.J. I think Bobby Jasper was in the band then. And that, yeah, notation. And Mixtet, yeah. Anyway, when Cannibal got ready to reorganize, which was about a year after the stint with Miles, and I had been with Dizzy for that year, and I was learning so much from Dizzy, and my first trip to Europe was then, you know. And so Cannibal asked me, he says, are you going to stay with Dizzy or what? I said, well, Cannibal, you know, I don't know what to say, man. I want to rejoin your band, but then I'm learning so much and having the ball with Dizzy. And so Cannibal said, look, man, if I was in your shoes and had to make that same decision, he said, I would stay with Dizzy too. You know? And we remained friends. In fact, we became neighbors because we both lived in Queens. You know, and yeah. And Dizzy also lived in Queens at that time also. So we remained friends through that time because I stayed with Dizzy for 3 years. You know, yeah, maybe even a little longer. And
that must have been a while.
Yeah, and when Cannibal reorganized, that's when he had several piano players. Bobby Timmons was one, Joe Zawinul was the other. What was piano player from the West Coast?
Mike Knott.
Not Mike Knott, no. I can think, a well-known piano player though. But anyway, those were the 3 piano players that he had until he passed away from a heart attack because he.
Oh, Mike Wolf. Michael Wolf. Yeah, at the very end.
He was yeah.
He was on the Phoenix record.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it was Mike Wolf. Yeah.
I went to elementary school with Michael.
You did?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. then when he passed away, I stayed with Dizzy a little longer, and
Wow.
until while I was with Dizzy, Norman Granz was Dizzy recorded for Verve, and Norman was his producer, and so we're doing a record date. You might know the record, Half Trumpet Will Excite, and The Brilliant Mr. Gillespie. We did 2 LPs.
Was that on the Verve label?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and so then Norman asked me that same night, halfway through Dizzy's session, Junior, how would you like to do your own album? And Dizzy had set it up too. I found out later. Yeah. And I said, oh, I'd love to. And he says, you don't mind using Ray Brown, do you? And my eyes fluttered. And I said, I was stammering. I said, no, I don't mind at all, But I like Sam Jones too, and that's what I planned to use as soon as he said that, And so our first album, first as a leader, it's on Verve, the album called Junior. And it was Ray Brown, myself, and Lex Humphreys, who was Dizzy's drummer, a young drummer from Philadelphia.
Nice rhythm section.
Yeah.
Ray Brown, that's one of my favorites. Ray was so great,
Yes, he was,
One time I saw Ray play a duo with, Lorenzo Almeida?
Yeah,
the
guitar player.
Guitarist?
Yeah.
And it was at the UC Berkeley Jazz Festival. And they programmed the program a little funny because they had Miles play, and then they brought out the duo of Ray Brown and Lorenzo, and the audience was talking, through the music, and it was really getting to Ray. So finally, he just stopped the music, and he stepped up to the microphone and he dressed down the whole audience. He said, "This is one of the greatest guitarists in the world, and you guys are talking right over him, And then you could hear a pin drop after that,
Yeah, because when a great artist does that'll get him more than say another employee who's non-musician.
Right.
Yeah.
But that was so right on, And, well, to work with Ray on your first album, that's beautiful.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Dizzy, he shined a lucky star over you, and and so did Cannonball, and you had just one beautiful page after another, Junior. I want to thank you so much for sharing all that with us.
Oh man, listen, thank you for allowing me to tell that story.
It's been a big honor for me. So we're going out over the CBS network on KYOU radio in San Francisco.
Oh,
and
all right.
Before we get out of here, Junior, because our station's called KYOU, what have you got to say to our listeners on KYOU?
KYOU, ILUV-U.
Oh, man. You're the best, Junior. Whoa, baby. Thanks a lot. Yeah.